All right, everyone.
Bang.
Welcome to the Brad and Kyle podcast. We have a fun, exciting episode for you today. But first, I just want to shout out our sponsor, Storm. Got to give love to Storm. BowlerDepot.com. If you have any pro shop needs, check out Al Wolf over at BowlerDepot.com. We have Turbo, and then we also have H5G. H5G does our merch, so make sure you head over to BradandKyle.com and check out some of our merch. And also support H5G. They're lovely. They are a lovely company. Some other news in bowling. We just got done doing a Lucy giveaway. Now, we gave away 10 bowling balls, and the proceeds, we were going to write a check for just over $6,000 to Donna and the Lucy team over there. And that tournament's less than a month away. They run the tournament for breast cancer, basically. So the whole idea behind it is to raise money for breast cancer. So we are finally contributing, and it's one of our favorite tournaments ever. Kyle and
shout out to everyone that bought tickets, that are watching this, that bought tickets. It's just sick to be able to raise money like that. I mean, it's we just put up 10 balls and we promote it, and then all the fans just do all the work really by buying the tickets. So it's really just them. We're just kind of the middleman.
Yeah, and it feels great, let me tell you. And so that tournament is a mixed doubles tournament. Kyle and Amanda have actually won it, which is very, very impressive. One of the craziest last games I've ever seen in a bowling tournament of my life. I don't know where the live stream is, but go back and watch it because it was crazy.
Listening to you run the numbers on that is still like the greatest thing ever. It's like, wait. He's paying attention to this match, and then wait a second.
I'm usually good at that. And I had no idea. So yeah, awesome stuff. Happy to give a check to the Lucy Fund or the Lucy tournament. And pretty much last thing, it is almost 4th of July. It's the week of 4th of July, and we are running a membership special. So we have a Brad and Kyle membership. It is a private Facebook group where we teach you how to bowl, and there's over 300 members. We have a coach in there, Coach Daniel. And we are running a special. It's normally $499 for the year. You get a bowling ball of choice. We're running $100 off. Okay, so we're going to put that link somewhere in the description of this video. If you're interested in coaching, we would love to have you. It's daily access. Every time you post a video, Coach Daniel does a review, re-uploads it. And so, most people don't even post a whole lot. They just pay attention to what's going on in the membership. So it's a beautiful community. So we have leagues coming up. We have the fall tournaments, whatever you got going on, get yourself a bowling ball and we will teach you how to throw it and do whatever. When you sign up, use the code America24. We will also have that writing down in the description, and we would love to have you. What do you think, Kyle? America24.
And we also have special guests, and in the membership, some pros, some other coaches that we bring in. In fact, our guest today is going to be our special guest for the month of July for the membership. So it's pretty cool.
Yes. And let's, do you want to introduce this fellow?
We'll introduce this fellow. This fellow right here is a 4-time PBA titleist. His first title was the major, the USBC Masters. Ran through that ladder. He's also won the Jonesboro Classic. He also has gotten carried to 2 doubles championships by Chris Prather, winning the Marshall Holman doubles championship twice to complete his 4 titles. He is also your PBA Elite League MVP. He's a guy that we have been bowling against our entire careers, one of the hardest working guys out there, Mr. Andrew Anderson.
Thanks, guys. Yes. Thanks, KP, for the carries. Yeah. I mean, it's just at this point, I just know it's expected. I know it's coming, so I'm ready for it. But yeah, thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to being on here with you guys and helping with the coaching this month, being the special guest. So that's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Andrew, it pleasures me to give other people beef because I've obviously gotten all the beef with my doubles title. So
if you remember, Jordan and I were on the pair with you guys when you made that run. And
so
you
were the 3-4 pair?
Yes. And so we also, like, mid-game, we're looking around like, oh, my God. Like, everybody here has a chance with what's going on.
Oh, so you were the team Kyle and Amanda lost to that game and jumped. Yes. No. How did that play out?
Yeah, we lost.
They lost. I had 290. I had 290, and they still.
You were too far back.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's how it worked. We ended up finishing third maybe by only like, I don't know, 20 pins or something like that. It was super close, but it was a crazy 9th and 10th frame, because I even said to Jordan, like, hey, we still got a chance. And like in the 8th frame, she's like, no way. I'm like, no, like we really do.
Yeah.
Like, so no, it was cool. It was honestly, it was a feel good moment watching other people win. Especially the first time, and watching you and I, girlfriend, wife. I mean,
Yeah, girlfriend.
yes. Okay.
Baby mama.
It was really cool. It was
Baby
really special
mama
being-
now.
Yeah, baby mama. Your baby mama and you. That was cool. That was special to watch. So, it sucks.
Yeah,
losing,
that
but,
I remember that match where like we really didn't think either. Like, I mean, we didn't really have a chance, but there was, in case you like popped off a big. But it was hard
Oh,
to
yeah.
shoot. You had to shoot like 520 or something, and
Yeah.
even that at the time. Then all of a sudden, like looking over the other pair, and they're not doing very good.
No, like in frame
And they're-
4, I'm pretty sure you and I were looking at each other like they're really struggling. Like,
we had a couple strings. I know I had like maybe 240 or 250 with a string. Obviously, you had 290, and then that's why we didn't think we had a chance, because you beat us. We're like, we had to have gotten, like, whoever could have got there had to have gotten the 30 bonus spins. Like, just
that's what we thought, right? Yeah.
yeah.
I just remember, the most thing I remember is like I was trying to finish my 10th frame as fast as possible, because you guys had already had a 1. You just need a count or something. So I really wanted to get off the lane and let you guys have the victory lap. But then I realized you guys didn't know.
Yeah,
So
we
then
had no
I was
idea.
like trying to tell people, like, pretty sure they're like winning this thing. Like,
Yeah, I was
Like,
trying to do the
not-
math, and then I just got up there in the 10th. I'm like, all right, I don't know if we can win, but like I was just kind of not going through the motions, but like, all right,
Yeah.
we'll just throw our shots. And all of a sudden, I'm like, shit, I need these.
Yeah, well, it was AJ and Aaron in first place, and then who was the other team on that
Sydney
pair?
and Chris, was it?
Yeah, Sydney and
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was a group. I mean, and again, all these people that we've all bowled against each other for so long, and so we've all been in these like random situations together now. It's just that was a crazy one. That's a hard one to forget.
How long ago was that? 4 years?
That was a while ago. It was like 2000. Yeah, no, it was longer than that. It was
19?
19, I think.
Andrew, what year was the year that you had your best year, player of the year?
2018. Yeah.
So that was the year after.
Feels like a lifetime ago now, but yes.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It is weird, man. Like we're going into what I'm going into my 8th year on tour this next year, so that makes me feel kind of old. But yeah, it's been a long time. And obviously, like if you think about like looking back on it, we've gone through so much since then. Like COVID, I've been on 2 different ball staffs since. Like it's just been a whirlwind.
Yeah, you were player of the year, and pretty early in your career. Like that was
Sophomore year. My sophomore
Sophomore-
slump was a player of the year. Then I went to
Soph-
the junior fall off, or whatever you're gonna call it. But yeah, it was it's
And
a
if I
whirlwind,
remember-
man.
Yeah, you were throwing on TV. Were you throwing a Rebel Yell?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
Rebel Yell, baby. Dude, that ball is. I was a fan of that ball. I remember. I couldn't believe you were throwing it though, because that ball like kind of went sideways for me. And that year it was at Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
At Syracuse, you won. Dude, they were so hard, like impossibly hard. I don't know how you.
Yeah, they were. Man, I was just a man on a mission, though. Like I was
Yeah.
really just a man on a mission. I mean, after after making the TOC show as a non-champion and all the things that go along with that, and then Matt O'Grady winning, so I lost to the eventual champion. And then 2 weeks later, I finished 7th at the Indiana Classic. I missed the show by like 15 pins for our next event, and then the PBA League, I did not get selected. So I had so much good bowling going on, crossed with what I felt like getting snubbed from the PBA League. I just had so much momentum, and I was a man on a mission. So the Masters just felt different, like it's just one of those things. I'm not sure if you guys, I'm sure you guys have gone through this, but when you guys shoot up sometimes it just feels different, and
Yeah.
you like when you get some good mojo going early in an event, you're like, I could do it this week. I could pull this off. And so that's just what happened. And it happened a few times that year, thankfully, and turned into Player of the Year, which is
all year. So what you're saying is, if Kyle didn't snub your ass for the PBA League, you might not have won the Masters. But you're
100%.
saying,
That was Norm's
No,
fault. Bro.
honestly,
Yeah.
I go back, like people ask me about like some of the best moments in my career. I said the best thing that's ever happened to me was standing in that room in Indy and not getting selected. I literally turned into a different person overnight.
Yeah, that was I remember that draft because me and Brad weren't even gonna go. We were somewhere doing
was
something, and we're like, it was in Indy, and we're like, dude, let's go. Like I don't think we were getting like breakfast or coffee or moseying around, got some clothes on, walked into the bowl, and then they were doing a because you were like supposed to be a lock if I remember correctly because wasn't Flanagan doing like a
Bill O'Neill
special
said,
audio?
yes, yeah. So Flanagan had me live streaming, like forever night, and obviously, you know, did not feel very good after the fact. But looking back on it, it's just how things unfold sometimes. It's just I was like an unknown to the coaches. A lot of the coaches didn't know who I was. I did think Norm was going to select me. That was kind of like the rumor, especially because Bill O'Neill was in the booth doing the PBA telecast or whatever, the live stream. And so they asked Bill like 11 selections in a row, like, who do you think is going to go here? And he said my name literally 11 or 12 times. And then the draft finished and I wasn't selected. And so I just looked around and I was pretty distraught, truthfully. I was like, this is incredibly awkward. I'm going to leave now. Like, I'm just going to go home and
there was so much buildup too. Like not only for you thinking you're going to get selected, but everyone is building you up as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's just, yeah.
Yes. But again, everything happens for a reason. By far the best thing that's ever happened to me in my bowling career.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to, like, to me, I agree with what you said. Like, I feel like almost you have to have those moments in your career of like, super disappointment, super just down, like bottom of the barrel, like this is as bad as it gets, or whatever. That feeling of like, just like I feel like you almost need those for like motivation.
100%. I mean, everybody goes through them at different stages and at different lengths of time. Like everybody goes through some slumps, everybody goes through some very highs. I've learned to appreciate the highs so much more because of some of those moments. And so like I don't take for granted any TV show I make. Anytime the PBA asks me to do either the strike derby or whatever it may be, I tend to take it more seriously because you just never know when it's going to be your last one. I mean, how many great bowlers we watch come through the PBA where they make a show and then unfortunately they don't make another one for 3, 5, 7 years. So it's like, I'm not going to take it for granted. I'm not taking the PBA League for granted. I'm not taking any of it for granted because you just never know. And I think it's a little different too because I've gone through some injuries, and as definitely better than almost anyone, Kyle. It's just like those things can really set you back. You could be doing some of the best things bowling wise you've ever done, and then overnight you're just like, this could be a long one to come back from. So my couple injuries kept me out, both of them like anywhere from 6 to 7, 8 months, and so it's just been it's a learning curve to appreciate when you do some good bowling.
Take me back to the Masters win, because we were bowling in Syracuse, right?
Yep.
And really hard pattern. I mean, that was one of the years that they made them. It was in the building that they built for the Open Championship.
Jan Center,
we were first people on it, right? It was before it started. Yeah, they made them hard. The out of bounds was crazy, and I made the match play at like minus 60 or something, and I was like 62nd or something. That was negative. But I remember that year you were able to hook the ball. You played left to right when a lot of people. My first match was Barnes. He played up it. A lot of guys in match play started to play up it. Pfeiffer had 760 against Belmo playing up 4. And then you just kept playing inside, and that's rare because most one-handers you don't see a lot of one-handers do that. They don't out-hook the entire field at the Masters. So what was that? Were you at 100% the top of your game, and you had your arsenal figured out, your motivation was at the highest, everything was just clicking?
Yeah, I mean, definitely everything was clicking. I kind of treated it like after qualifying, and in qualifying, I played them pretty straight for the most part. Like obviously, I got most of my pins on the burn that year, and so then when like I went into match play, and shout out to Matt Gasson if he watches this, but I had a rubber yellow too, but he really suggested drilling a couple more different layouts, doing a couple pin down ones, and at the time we were using weight holes. So I had one pin down, hold down that was just kind of special. Like it kind of just did everything right. It was pretty straight through the fronts, and then I could rotate it as much as I wanted, and it would never flare too much. So um, just a really good matchup bowling ball wise. But I would say like the way I treated that week was because they were so hard. I just kept telling myself I'm gonna out repeat everybody, and so I just put myself into whatever zone of the lane I felt best in. And when match that I played came around after maybe my first match, I think, or second match, I bowled against Matt Sanders. And I got really comfortable playing anywhere from like 20 to 25. And I was trying to get it around the second rangefinder ish. So my goal every match was like just get comfortable, get into a rhythm in that part of the lane, whether it be 20, whether it be 25, and just start out repeating people. And that's really what it came down to. Like if you look through my matches, thankfully I didn't have any matches where I needed more than like 670. I didn't have any other random 760s at me. Um, and so that definitely helped. But most of my matches were all grind fests, and that's kind of on purpose. Like when you break down a lane, as you guys know, and the first match on fresh, like if you play to the right, they tend to get a little easier. Well, I went into those matches and said, let's make them as hard as possible. So I was throwing surface around 15, 17. I said, let's go left and let's see who's better at it. And it worked, just one of those things. Like it just happened to match up, and like I was on the top of my game. Like when I look back at my bowling career, I've had like 3 moments of where I've done some really good bowling, and like from February to June of 2018, that was by far the best bowling I've ever done. So I would love to do it again. We're gonna keep trying to do it again, but that was definitely by far the best bowling I've ever done.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, most people that make runs in that tournament, the cool part about the Masters, and it sucks it only comes one time a year, or at least that format, is because if you bowl enough, or if you bowl on tour, or you want to get really good, and you bowl that tournament every year, there's a good chance that you're going to have some good memories in that,
Yeah.
and you may not even shoot above 650 in match play, but there's going to be a year where you don't have to, or a couple of years where you don't have to.
When did you guys? Sorry to interrupt. When did you guys start Brad and Kyle? Was it 2019?
16.
2016. Okay, wow, I'm sorry. So I don't know if you guys remember this. I remember it, but in 2019, when I was the defending champion, I got knocked out by Brad and Kyle in that order.
Oh, seriously? Was that at
in the winners bracket at Gold Coast? I lost to Brad.
Gold Coast, yeah.
780 at me with
the Zen.
The lock. The lock, is that the big slow ball?
The lock.
Oh yeah, I will never forget this. I bowled 740, lost by 40. And then my very next match in the losers bracket, they said, "Oh, you have Kyle Sherman." I said, "Okay, well, shit, this is I don't know. This isn't good. This is bad mojo. I got the Brad.
This is bad mojo, yeah."
And then you gave me 760, and I gave him 720. Like, well, 247 is not enough against the Brad and Kyle show. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, that's even in the right order too. You had Brad and then Kyle. Yeah, you were doomed, man.
I was, dude. I was so doomed.
You're the opposite of Mitch. Mitch can't lose against us.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, but part of me wishes there were more formats like that. Just because it's, I mean, look at D-Ron, look at, I mean, just a lot of guys that make runs. You just have incredible memories. But it's the only format like that, and it's high variance. I mean, the best bowler doesn't always win. That's the tough part. But yeah, that's a favorite format for me.
There's a reason why I mean, obviously it's the event open to the most people too, but like everybody feels like they have a chance when they get there. And I think that's what's super special of that event. There's 2 different events to it. There's the qualifying event where you're like, all right, I got to be a top 64 bowler at this event. Then there's a match play event where like I have to be the best match play bowler at this event. And so it just brings in everything, man. You got burn, you got fresh, you got match play, you got step ladder. I mean, it's just everything. So yeah, I agree with you. I wish there was some more like that. Obviously, I really like the event, obviously being a champion, but also just because match play is so much fun. We've growing up between Junior Gold and MJ Mays here in Michigan, we just always get accustomed to match play, and so just a big fan of anything like that.
Yeah, and this year was 490 people. Last year was like 390. There's something about the vibe that when you walk in and there's like entire countries teams who travel together that are bowling the event, and there's 490 people, so there's 200 to 300 amateurs that you normally don't see on a regular basis, and then you have women, and then you have all these like really cool storylines.
Yeah, it's just, and I mean, here in Michigan too, when I was growing up, John Nolan won the Masters, and so that was so big here in Michigan when I was growing up. And so, bowling against John when I first moved up to adults, we had talked about his Masters win, and like how cool it was his first title. He was putting, Michigan bowlers back in the map. So then for me to do it, it was like literally 4 years after I moved up and had all these conversations and bowled with all these guys, including John Nolan. For me to do it, it was like a big circle back for a lot of the Michigan bowling family. So that was really special and cool.
Yeah, so you win the Masters. That was sometime in March, and then Jonesboro was just after.
Jonesboro is in the summer of that year, where it was maybe, I think it was June.
Yeah.
June, July, where, I mean, I have a great story about that too, how that title transpired. But talk about like the year of hard events. Jonesboro is known for being one of the hardest events, and then my 2 titles that year are the 2 hardest events score-wise. So I think that had something to do with some of the good mojo going on that year. Is like this year was the highest average year PBA wise, that's seen in a long time. That was the lowest. So we definitely know what I prefer, right?
Hey, you're MVP. What are you?
Yeah, the PBA Elite League is a whole nother thing. As it's a different animal, and so like the way I attack that versus the way I attack a singles PBA event is just so different.
But that year was the year at Jonesboro the year that EJ just threw it hard and straight the head pin?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I mean, they were hard.
One year he finished 8th throwing it the high heater at the head pin. And I'm like,
no, it wasn't the short pattern year. This year, the year I won, it was like 39 feet, but the gutter didn't hook at all, so you had to play the middle of the lane.
Gotcha.
And then Rafiq from Malaysia was leading the event, the majority of it, until the last game of match play.
Did you take the number 1 seed?
I did, yes.
And you beat Frankie?
I beat Tom Doherty.
Tom
Doherty stuffed back-to-back 8 pins.
What?
In the title match, and I beat him by like 30, I think. If he doesn't leave those, it's a completely different match. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I had some good karma working that year for something. I like when I go to like Panda Express, I always round up. So I always give the extra $1. And so I just feel like I try to build up as much karma as possible for some stuff like that.
Kyle, were you at I think the year he won was the second year what was it, 18 you won?
Yeah.
And we started in the summer of 16 or 17. So that might have been, Jonesboro was our first vlog ever, Kyle?
I think it was. Yeah, it was Lubbock and Jonesboro, but I think it was Jonesboro. Yeah.
So that was, and are you bowling the trios?
I'm not going to bowl the trios as of right now.
Do we know how that's working out?
I hope it goes great because I think the owners of Hijinks are incredible. Correct.
Meaning, like, how many are they? Is it open field?
It's going to have to get to an open field here soon because of the amount of entries on each side. It sounds like there's like the PBA 50 side is doing well, but the main tour top 50 points wise isn't doing great, and then the women's side, it sounds like there's some backouts. So I'm not sure. Like they haven't exactly posted the amount of players in each. I've just heard rumors about each, so I'm just going off that. And through the players committee, we've had some conversations about it and what we could do to make it better.
Yeah, because if they got all the top 50 of each of those 3, that's 150 people in a field, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I figured they're
and I think they're trying to get like 48 of each minimum.
48 of each.
I think. That's the plan. Multi-squad event possibly.
Yeah, for those of that don't know what we're talking about, this year there's going to be a new event at Hijinks in Jonesboro. So normally we go there for a regular event, and this year they wanted to switch it up and try and get all types of the PBA in there. So they wanted to run a trios ish where they have a regular tour, a PBA 50 side, and then a women's tour, and then after the cut, there's like a trio where they all team up.
Yeah, so it's like I please don't quote me if I'm wrong, if they decide to change it or something has changed. But I believe the way it works is if you qualify first, you go with first in the other two divisions.
Gotcha.
And it's a trios team for the next day, and like second, and so forth. I believe it's how it's going to work out. So it's going to be interesting because, like, dynamics of team events, right? Like,
yeah,
it's going to be very interesting who qualifies where, who has to bowl with who. Doesn't make it better or worse. It's totally new. So I applaud the PBA and them for trying, because I think we need new spiced up events. I think that only helps us. So if it hits and it takes off, that would be great for us, to make it a second Lucy going forward. And hey, guys, shout out to you guys for the Lucy giveaway. That is incredible. So that's awesome. Giving back to a great cause.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. But it's really, dude, it's just the people, they just love the bowling ball raffles. So we just give them to them, and they love them, and we love giving them away. So it made sense. Now, Andrew, you talked about you take all these these strike derbies and extra events seriously. The PBA League isn't quite like that. It's it's definitely a little more competition based. But you were the MVP of the season this year, which is, we had a new format for the PBA League this year where we got to bowl in matches throughout the year. Take us through, maybe your mindset when you go into the team. You said it was a little bit different than your individual stuff, or how does that mindset, lead you to be the MVP? Because I know from when we watched, it seems like almost every time you needed it, you got it, which makes sense. That's why you were the MVP.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to share and not share sometimes, I don't want to throw people under the bus. I just took it. I took on a leadership role. In the past, I've definitely asked to be in the fifth position quite a bit. Brad and I had an experience together on Norm's team where I wanted to be in the anchor spot. And I think at some points, I definitely asked for it too often. And I think what happened really well this year is I asked for it when I knew I could really succeed in it. So I did get a lot of shots in the 10th position and 5th position, but if you look at the amount of shots my team threw, Ogle was in the 10th spot a lot. Rash was there quite often. Russo did an incredible job when we put him there. So our team as a whole did really well in those positions to get us the record that we got. For me personally, I just took a lot of pride in trying to figure out, as a player manager, where did people fit best? And I really found at the very bottom line is when you have that many great, talented bowlers on one team, the best thing you can do is take pressure off of them and let their greatness shine. And so I felt like the best thing for our team was Russo or I bowling in the 10th spot towards the end of the year in some of these pressure situations, because the pressure situations came around less often because the team bowled so much better. And so is Rash capable of doing it? Absolutely. He still is. I still think the fact that we got Rash in the 3rd round of the PBA League draft due to, obviously there's some concerns for some from a team perspective. And I think he would acknowledge that. So I have no problem sharing that. I think he did an incredible job this year as a teammate, stepping in whatever role we needed him to. And so from this MVP, it's going to sound cliche. Everybody says it, but there's no way I get the MVP if we don't have the record that we have, and we don't have the record that we have without the entire team bowling very good. The moment in Detroit that I had to throw a shot for us to win in front of my hometown friends, that will go down as the reason I won MVP, in my opinion. The amount on the line, we're bowling against Portland. We have had a very bad record against Portland in the past, and especially on television, our team versus theirs, they've had our number bad. And so to do that in Detroit, where I felt like we had a hometown crowd, just super special, man. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I went nuts after I threw the strike. I didn't feel it off my hand. I had no clue if it was good or not. I was just praying like everybody else.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was a crazy moment, and you really couldn't draw it up, couldn't script it any better than that.
No, I mean that whole day really. If we go
Yeah,
later in
you
that
wanted.
day,
Yeah.
I had to throw a strike for a doubles title 4 hours later after coming down from one of the highest highs of my life.
Did
And
you feel
so it's
more
like,
comfortable at all on that, like being on that in that environment after
yeah, I
you
mean,
just did it in the
absolutely.
league?
Like the second time around, I definitely felt more comfortable getting into the flow. Like I threw a lot of good shots in that match as a
Yeah.
whole. But I would say, like, if I compare the two shots, I think the one for the doubles title was harder. I think there was more emotion involved. Where the PBA League, I was bowling for a team, but like we were going to be fine whether I threw that shot or not. And so that one, I felt like I get a really cool opportunity here to throw a good shot. Where the second one was like, I haven't won a title in 3 years. Chris Prather, one of my best friends, hasn't bowled great. I have this moment to give us something to love this year. And so when I stepped up there, I almost got a shot clock violation because all these things were running through my head. I said, dude, you really just have to close your eyes and just please, this has got to be one of those moments where you just step up. And when I got up on the lane and when I threw the shot, I put my hands on my knees. Like normally you guys would see me run it out, slap it out, whatever it took. I didn't have any energy for it. I didn't. I threw the shot, my hands went to my legs because I was like, I can't stand right now. Like I'm so nervous, so jittery. And yeah, man, I obviously get kind of worked up talking about it because of how special it was and like the hug I got to give Chris after, and now we have this moment we get to share together forever, and just special. And the team event, it's not taking anything away from that, but like if I threw that to win the Elias Cup, okay, like now we're talking.
Yeah.
But that was just more of like hometown crowd, got some energy, gave us momentum. It was awesome. The doubles title was monumental for keeping my career what I feel like going. I want to be remembered as a winner and winning in those moments. So that was huge for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that was
and
massive.
huge for Chris too. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's just a struggle out there. I mean, look how everyone's so good.
Yeah, everybody is so good. And they're only getting better. Like
The
really.
amount of chances that you get to win a title now more than ever are just tough. So when you're in
Absolutely.
that moment, man, what a moment.
Yeah, you talk about guys getting better. We've interviewed, I mean, we've had Frankie on here, we've had Mitch on here, we've had a couple other
Bug.
guys, Bug, and you talk about those guys. Just to name a couple. It's not even the guys that did really well this year. You talk about getting better. Like these guys didn't even take time off tour. They're
No.
jumping right back into tournaments. They're going to see coaches. They're going to the ball companies. They're trying as much as they can to get better for next year. That's why to try to win is it's so brutal. And it's probably really hard for like the fan to really understand. They get, why haven't you won? Or what? You just needed to do this, and it's like, dude, like I don't think you understand how easy these guys are making this look right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not easy.
Yeah. And I mean, the difference between practice and PBA competition is just so vastly different. Like you think you can go practice and practice and practice, but then you get out in this real world environment where you're moving 5 boards every 3 shots sometimes, and you have to ball change after having 260, and you have to watch guys average 275 for a 4-game span and feel like I can still catch them. It's just like, it's definitely more of a mental toll than it is physically. Like I think that all of us can admit that the amount of games really doesn't bother us as much anymore because we're just so accustomed to it. But the mental toll of like striking versus not, especially when you have to average 229 to 230 in some of these events to have a chance to win them for 35 to 45 games. I mean, it's just, you can't take any shots off, you take any games off. You get a couple bad breaks here and there, and you're just like, oh my gosh. So, vast learning curve. And I think that what's making a lot of these guys better is like they're getting over that hump and starting to learn. And so, like guys like Kroll, I mean, Book, what a show he's put on for us this year. I think it's awesome for the PBA. It's not awesome watching because I want to be able to do it, but he is putting on a show. and it is great for bowling. And so it's really cool to see like that, who works his tail off. We all know he bowls every event possible. He works his tail off, and he's starting to see some success from it. A lot of it.
Yeah, the mental toll is something hard to put in words unless you're out there and you actually feel it. Because, we've all gotten the questions, just around locally, like, can this person go out on tour? Like, take your best local amateur bowler. Can they make it on tour? They throw it great. They average this in league. They shoot all these honor scores. Like, yeah, they can make it. Everyone who's bowled their whole life and has a great physical game. Yeah, there's not much different there than you take a pro's physical game. But what's different is when you get around a guy like EJ or Simo, and it's not just like you look at them physically and you think, oh, wow. You look at like what their determination looks like, and then you immediately think like, oh, wow, this is another level. Without like with discarding the way they throw it, you get to, when you're around in the environment around those guys, you get the vibe that there is nothing else in this world that they're going to do. There is nothing else in this world that they were ever going to do. This is the thing that they are amazing at, and they'll bowl 15 hours a day if they have to, striking every time they, full focus. And then you're right. You're staring at 8-baggers. I didn't even bowl the World Series this year, and right out the gate, I'm watching you guys bowl on Cheetah. And dude, it's mesmerizing a little bit. I mean, just as a fan there, you're looking around going, all right, there's an 8-bagger, there's an 8-bagger, there's a 290, there's a 300. And bam, 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 large center. You're just watching all these lanes, all these pros, just boom, 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 boom. Honor scores out the wazoo. And it's mesmerizing. It's like, wow, like you don't get to see that anywhere else. Yeah, there's some amateur tournaments where you got to average 250 to make top 5 or whatever, but this is on something that takes some precision. You got to be on top of your moves. You got to know what ball you're going to get out of urethane with. You got to be talking to your ball reps. You have to just...
There's levels to it. Like you said, man, use the word levels. And that's how I describe the PBA tours. Like there's levels to it, and there's moments for myself, for example, that I've gotten to that level, right? Like I won Player of the Year because I got to that level. Sustaining it for the amount of time the EJs, the Simos, the Troops of the world, Balmo, of course, has done it. It's just, it takes a whole nother level. And so, like, for my example, this offseason, I'm working with Dr. Dean every single week. I may not be every single week. I'm not practicing as much at the moment. Like I want to be refreshed. I'm a little burnt out from the end of the season. I was in between events practicing so much, trying to get back to a place where I felt like I felt good about my repetition. Like on camera, it looked good, but my feel of it wasn't there. So I was practicing my butt off. And so I had a great end of the year. Like I went to the playoffs. I made a mini run through the step ladder. And then right after that, I was like, okay, yo, you did your job. Let's take a chill pill. And then let's work on the mental side of it. So, I'm working with him week in, week out. I wish I could work with him more. I'm literally asking him hey, do you have a second time this week? I'm trying to dial this in because, come next year, I feel like I'm going to be physically ready no matter what. But we were talking about it, the mental toll, and to be able to sustain that level of competition for a 4 to 5 month span or even a year span when you look at it, I truthfully wasn't ready for that this year. So I got to be more prepared for that next year.
Could you go into a couple of things that you and Dr. Dean are working on currently?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing I should share is I'm working with him on both a personal side of it and a bowling side of it, right? So we split the time up evenly, and your personal life plays so much of a part of the bowling life and the bowling mental game, because if you don't have something to go back on when you're done bowling and something to enjoy and some fulfillment, you're not going to have the fulfillment while you're bowling. I got to a point of being so burnt out the last couple of years that I would throw some incredible shots and key moments that I wouldn't even enjoy. I couldn't even remember them because I wasn't all in on them. Where this year, after working with him and throwing those shots in Detroit, I now I feel a lot more fulfillment. So I'm working on that for more of a personal side of it. But from the bowling side of it, we're really getting into the idea that like to be a professional bowler, you have to sustain levels of greatness. And so like I get there. Sometimes it takes me more than others, you know, like when we talk about PBA League versus the regular tour events, I felt like I did so well in the PBA League because every shot mattered so much to me. Where like there are definitely times I can admit that when I start a PBA event, I start lackluster. Like I'll be through 2 games at like 30 over, 60 back of a good number at times, and just kind of going through the flow until it's like, oh my God, I might miss this cut. I better turn it on, but then it's too late. So really working on sustaining that, getting there quicker, flipping the light on faster, and being at that level of focus that you need much earlier, and being able to practice staying there for a longer amount of time.
Is there something in your like pregame routine? What does your pregame routine look like? We asked Marshall this, and he changed his quite a bit this year, like where he put his cell phone away like an hour before, and he tried to really focus in literally the best he possibly could. Is there something there for you as well?
Ironically, that is something that we're getting to more recently, but I haven't put it into practice yet. Not, like I did for nationals a little bit. A little different environment, as you guys know. It's because you're working with 5 others, 10 others, whoever you're bowling with. So it's hard to be on a personal, like, hey, don't talk to me for the next hour because I'm trying to zone in. You don't really want to practice that too much in that team environment. But there are definitely things I'm going to work in. I think one of the biggest things is like when I start my day nowadays, I try to not look at my phone for the first hour of it. You know, like you set your alarm on your phone, have it on do not disturb, spend the first hour doing anything that's not being connected to like social media, other people, not being available at times to other people that early in the morning or whenever. Just setting the tone for the day more. I think that's been a huge help. It allows me to make sure I feel connected to myself and like enjoy my day more. Like, what do I have to do today to be successful? When I go to Turbo and I have 5 lessons, you know, it's not fair to them if I wake up and the first thing I'm worried about is something on social media that somebody else did or somebody else said. It's more fair to them if I show up as my best person and able to coach them to the best of my ability without all these other wandering thoughts going on. And as you guys know, like social media is so tough sometimes, especially when you're not bowling very good. Social media world is the most judgmental world and like judgmental people in the world.
Oh yeah.
And like I envy you guys because now that I have a YouTube channel, I've got a very small taste of what you guys have done for the last, you know.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, you want me to talk about the YouTube channel?
I do.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Andrew Anderson Bowling. I've been following.
I appreciate that.
Up.
Yeah. Man, it's been something I've wanted to do for years. And 4 years, like as in a lot of years. And I've talked to you about it, Kyle, I feel like in the past. And I just could never pull the trigger. And if I could be honest, I think the biggest reason is because as much as I'm in the spotlight sometimes bowling and I can throw good shots in the spotlight, I don't really want to be in the spotlight all that often. And so like watching you guys and watching Darren and watching Packy and going places, and you guys are bombarded, which is awesome. You know, I'm a fan. I watch you guys' videos, and it's really cool to see what you guys have done for bowling in that space. So I finally got the nerve, and you know, this obviously is the help of Dr. Dean a little bit. It's like I finally got the nerve to say, hey, who cares? You know, you put out good or bad videos, you deal with it. And now it's a new experience of putting myself out there in a different space. And so I've actually enjoyed it pretty much. You know, we're actually going to record a bunch more videos this upcoming Sunday and Monday. So I'll get to get some more content out there. It's been new. Like that's the best way to describe it. I think I haven't done any vlogs yet. So like that's going to be a different experience come January when I'm like bowling, but vlogging. I'm probably going to have to like, you know, prepare myself in some sort of fashion. Any advice, I'm open. But when it comes to the videos, the biggest thing for me is just like we're in this kind of dark room with a big old light on me, and then I'm talking to a camera. It's like, I do pretty good in front of, like talking in front of people where I can see people's reactions. But I'm talking to this immobile camera, and I'm just like, okay, well, let's wing it, you know. So it's been different, definitely different.
Have you had any like weird comments, hate comments?
Oh yeah,
disagreement.
Two-handed video. just like everybody else. And it's ironic because the irony of it is I taped this thing and scheduled this out like 2 months ago now. And so there's how many people putting out 200 videos in last month? And so the timing of it was just perfect because now all these one-handers are putting out 200 videos. And I suck. I suck two-handed. Like I bowl once in a while two-handed, but I got quite a bit of hate on that one. I mean, quite a bit. It's a different world. I'm trying to reply to some comments and like get back to people and stuff, but some of them I just look at. I'm like, man, honestly, I just don't care what you think. Like, don't subscribe. Like, don't watch my videos. Like, go somewhere else. Like,
dude, I haven't looked at a comment in like 3-4 years. Pretty much since we hired Dennis.
Yeah.
Not a single, not a good one, not a bad one, dude. Because it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal to look at them. It's hard to filter them and be like. And once you get more, like once you read more of them, and you'll be like, all right, dude, whatever. Like this actually makes no difference. But at the start, it's hard to like filter out those comments and completely ignore them. You're like, shit, dude. Like,
well, we're already talking about like the way we do some camera angles because of some of the comments, which is super helpful. Like I do want to know those types of things because I'm winging it. Like, I'm making these videos. Like I've watched enough videos that I kind of have an idea of what I want it to look like, but until you do it, you guys know, you really have no idea. But I do have a fun question for you guys because I am addicted at the moment when I put a video out of how many views and how many followers I get. Was that the same for you guys when you started?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it still is.
It still is. Like I would say we like at the very beginning, because you're new to it, right? You're like, all right, how's this video doing compared to the other one? And now YouTube has so many cool like analytics you can look at to where when we first started, back in the day, they didn't have any of that stuff. They didn't have you like near the tools now. But yeah, I would say we hit like a honeymoon phase at one point where like it was like 2 or 3 years ago where our videos were crushing.
Yeah,
and it was like
right
cool to look.
Yeah,
right as COVID hit, like we were crushing. Like our channel was just doing unbelievable. I think we probably still had a month to where we haven't even matched it yet. And I know I got to a point where it was like I took it for granted because I wasn't looking at the no. I was like, oh, just another video is gonna crush, another video is gonna crush. And then COVID hit, and then shit ain't been the same since then. We're trying. I mean, we put out a video 2 days ago and it has like 40,000 views now, and that's huge for us. We're like, yes, like,
awesome.
It's crushing. It's not even doing close to the same as it used to. But yeah, we definitely look at it.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just like the amount of videos out there? Or do you think it's that type of content?
Yeah, I think the market's definitely more saturated for sure. So like there was probably a time where like we were pretty much one of the only people that were watching for bowling content. So that probably has something to do with it. I think, and because of that, like you got to just be able to step up your game, in my opinion. Your content's got to get better. It's got to have better ideas. The edits got to be better, like just to compete, or else people will just like casually. Thumbnails got to be better, dude. Trying to pick a thumbnail and matching it with the title, and you think you have the holy grail of a video, and it flops, and then you put out some random crap, and then it does really, really good. Like it's
my best video so far was when we got done videoing it. I'm like, I don't know how that went. And it's called the do's and don'ts of practice. And it's literally just me doing random stuff that I would do in practice and don't do in practice. Like towards the end of the video, I literally like stumble over myself in street shoes, and I say, "Hey, don't bowl in street shoes." And what is one of the most watched parts of the video? That one. I'm like,
that one, yeah.
Like, okay, so like I said, solely new. I've really enjoyed it. Of course, down the road as I grow and hopefully grow big enough, I'm hoping to do some stuff with you guys and Darren and Packy. And I already have some cool ideas in with Flanagan to try to get some stuff going. One of my coolest ideas is I actually want to create a scholarship through the YouTube channel. And so like I've wanted to do that with my ball companies and whoever for years. And so now I've finally given myself an avenue where I might have some extra income to be able to create a scholarship year in and year out. So I'm really looking forward to that. Be on the lookout for that for anybody watching. I'm really trying to get that ball rolling by the end of this year. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, it'd be
but
sick.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need
well,
to do a. You go ahead.
go ahead.
I was saying we need to do a collaboration with you because you have the King Daddy setup at Turbo, bro.
We
Like
do. Yeah, I would love to listen. Whenever you guys want to come up, let's do it.
yeah, we might have
Yeah,
to
well,
figure out something in the next few months to come up and do some collaborations.
we filmed that one time at Bowling IQ because you let us in.
Yeah,
We
You
did.
remember that?
yeah.
Dude, some of our if you go to our YouTube channel, some of our I think we filmed 3 videos that day. Like 2 of them crushed. Like
Really?
3,
That's
4,
awesome.
4,000 views.
Yeah, bowling IQ was
Yeah.
awesome. It is still awesome. Like, holds a special place in my heart. Like, I don't win bowl. Like, some of the other factors to me winning Player of the Year, that place, dude. I was in there until midnight every day, practicing, working, changing bowling ball grips, doing fits, like all kinds of stuff. So I was very fortunate to have that facility at my disposal. And now Turbo, of course. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. You know, I get to coach and practice at one of the best facilities, I believe, in America. So. Yeah, dude. Whenever you guys want, let's get it going.
Yeah, well, have it built your scholarship by the beginning of the year, and whenever we go on tour, I get so excited when we go on tour because now, like when you look at it from the player side of just all these YouTube and social media pages and Instagram and all the internal promotion that happens now, it's
Yeah.
like there's this engine that is turning constantly when we're all in the same building. And
Oh, yeah.
whatever any player, whenever they put together a product, whatever they want to do, it's on the daily, direct to consumer promotion. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to make a television show to reach an audience. And that's one of the biggest things I've kind of realized about this social media stuff is like, yeah, we're kind of in this world of like trying to get our videos to reach as many people, trying to get subs, trying to reach as many people as possible. But really, social media comes down to like, we see the same 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people commenting, reaching out to us on social media, joining our email list, becoming members. It's like it's this community of people that you kind of need as a professional athlete. Like you need, like if you ever put together a product, you need people to sell it to essentially. And
Yeah.
if that's 500 people, if your YouTube channel gets 500 people, well, that's 500 potential customers, even though a 500 view video in the grand scheme of things isn't what Darren gets.
Yeah.
In terms of your own personal journey, that 500 people could mean the world.
Oh,
You could
absolutely.
have one high paying customer, you could have one repeat coaching customer, you could have all these opportunities, and one video gets 500, the next video gets 500. It's not the same 500 people.
Yeah.
So even though it's not reaching hundreds of thousands of people, you're still building this like community around your brand.
Yeah.
So that's really the focus. Kyle and I have we live in this world of like, how can we get, really broad, expand reach, but really it's like those specific diehard fans that you develop that become super important.
Yeah, and I think that what I'm really learning is that there's got to be some balance to growing it, but maintaining what people like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this amount of people like these types of videos, so you got to like keep those going. But then to bring in the broader audience, you have to do things with either other people, like collaborations. I'm trying. What's tough about the YouTube channel, just anything I do in general, if people know me, it's like I'm all in whenever I decide to do something. Like I got a tattoo, right? And the only reason it's on my mind is because I finished it today. I've never had a tattoo before. Now I have a half sleeve. Like that's the type of person that's the type of person I am.
I know.
Just, like,
Left arm, huh? Is that left
Yeah.
arm? I thought I saw it peeking out.
Oh yeah. So I'm not the person to like. I just can't, for whatever reason, do anything small.
Yeah.
So like now I have this YouTube channel, and like my mind is now working in a totally different way, which is awesome. Like it's expanding the way I think about bowling and videos and coaching, but like now I'm like, all right, so how do we expand from just the audience in the United States to like elsewhere? Like what do Brad and Kyle have to do? What does Darren have to do? What does Packy have to do? What do I have to do to like expand it? Because like that's really the next step. When I'm looking at all these YouTube channels of who's watching and who's not, it's like, how do we get international flavor involved? How do we want them to be involved? And, I'm already like trying to brain some ideas, especially because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm part of the Swedish League. I'm on one of the teams.
Really?
Yes. So I'm bowling at a part of the competition in Swedish League. So I'll be over there for like a whole month later this year to bowl with Isgota. It's a team out of Helsingborg where we bowl the Lucky Larson. Patrick Bakke is just an incredible person. He got this worked out where I bowled with the team last year. We fell a little short of the playoffs, but I was only part of the team for about half the season. So this year I'm going to be part of the team the whole season. I'll only bowl anywhere from 6 to 9 matches, but hopefully that's enough to get the team into the playoffs. And we've strengthened the team, bringing in some other guys. But while I'm over there, I'm hoping that not the first time I go over this year, but the second time I get to do some videos. And man, the Swedish League, I just wish that everybody could experience it. And so like my main goal with that is like I got to bring that experience to people in the United States so they can understand how much different it is. They don't bowl for any money in this league. Like no money involvement at all. It is straight pride. Every shot is the end of the world. Like the pressure in those situations that you have in the Swedish League, every shot you throw there feels as if you're bowling on a TV show for any title. Is the amount of pressure I would describe it. It is incredible. Everybody needs to experience it somehow, some way. And so like that's on my mind a lot right now of how can I get that experience to others, because it's just so incredible.
Yeah, you should reach out to Magnus with Lane Talk because we were talking about coming to the Lucky Larsons. I think it was in Vegas, and we were talking about how we would film it. And he says he has some people over in Sweden that could probably be like your personal cameraman or something.
Oh, that would be Like I should definitely get in contact with him then because
no money.
What?
They don't bowl for any money. I didn't know that.
No, so so it's just set up like a soccer league, just like the soccer leagues where the bottom 2 teams get relegated, and then the top 4 teams make the playoffs, and then there's 4 teams that don't make the playoffs. So I think it's 10 teams or 12 teams. I could be mistaken. I'm still pretty new to it. I got my face beat in multiple times in these matches. I had no clue what I was walking into. They do not care if you are Jason Mamani or Andrew Anderson or Kyle Sherman. They are there to beat your face in. They take no prisoners. It is insane. I bowled an away match, and they're home and away matches, right? So I bowled an away match at this pub bar type bowling center. It was like the biggest center I bowled at in Sweden. It was only 20 lanes. Like all these matches are in 8-lane centers, 10-lane centers where it's super packed in, hundreds of people on top of each other. But I bowled this match at this pub place. And so they told me this was probably going to be our toughest away match that I was a part of. And I said, yeah, okay. Like I've been a part of some matches before. No, this was different. I walked in there. They're shit talking me before I even had my shoes on. They're saying all this stuff in Swedish to me. I strike in frame 1, and there was so much shit talking that I literally turned around and I said something like along the lines of, I don't care whose house this is. We're here to bowl. I got my face beaten. I lost every match bowled that day. Super embarrassing, but now I promise you, I'm going to make sure I'm going to that match again this year, one way or another, because now I have some. I gotta give some back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any other Americans that bowl the Swedish League?
I've been trying to talk KP into going with me, being part of our team for some of those matches. Along the way, many guys have bowled the Swedish League, especially have you guys heard of Team Pergamon?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're by far the best team. That's pretty much Team Sweden. And so my team is Gotha. At our home match against them last year, beat them. And it was the first time they had beat them in like 6 years, they said. Not home or away. So our team beating them, it was literally like Rocky Balboa type stuff. It was insane. And so they brought in a camera crew, put it on TV and everything. It was like the biggest match ever. I think there's a YouTube video if you guys get bored of it. It is absolutely insane. It was Team Isgota versus Team Pergamon. But when it comes to other Americans bowling, I think we should dabble in it. I think it would be awesome for more professional USA bowlers to get into this, because I think going forward, if the PBA Elite League could become anything remotely close to this Swedish League, we could blow the PBA Elite League up. Like I think that it would turn into a different animal. I think like everything I love about the Elite League is like, one, the team atmosphere, right? But and please correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, but I even think that college bowling has a little bit more pride in it than what some of these matches do for the PBA League. You know,
Oh
you
yeah.
bring a bunch of individuals together. It is tough, you know, to bowl for pride when there's money on the line for us, though, so that kind of helps. But like, man, the Swedish League, I wish I could even describe it better. Every shot you throw feels like 100 pounds on you. And they're like, every time they strike, they're pointing at you, they're pointing at their teammates, they're yelling something. It's just so awesome. And if we could get anything resembling that into our PBA Elite League, I think that we could blow it up. And I think that the PBA would expand it. I think it would become a year-long thing. I think that there would be so much good to come from it. So if either of you are wanting to bowl a couple matches in Sweden with me, you let me know, and I will do my best to set that up.
Yeah, it's amazing how those environments that you talk about, like you're bowling for pride. Like to me, college bowling is like that. Even there's money on the line, but even when you're bowling like some action matches
Oh,
at
yeah.
times, like the money's there, but it's
Yeah.
pride. You're bowling to beat the other guy. Like, and
Yeah,
it's just a different.
You don't want to see somebody after they beat you in an action match a year later and be like, "You want to bowl again?" Because they're all happy that they beat you last time. Like, we don't have as many action matches as we used to. It seems like, well, one, we don't have some of the amateur events that we used to, where we bowl some
Right.
of the action matches, but it's kind of dwindling. And maybe I think you bringing that up is a great point. It's like maybe what I love about it so much is that feel. It does feel like an action match of pride.
Yeah, it's way different than, even like, you're bowling a regular tournament, you maybe have a 500, 1,000 in brackets. You don't get that same feeling, and that it's just whenever that pride, meter kicks in and you're like, all right, it's almost like it's testing your manhood. It's testing like your bowling, like I gotta beat this dude. And I know you love that environment. Like I know you search for that, dude. I'll never forget. I won't say the name. We were bowling in the action matches at the Bud Light Challenge, and someone
I knew you were going there. I knew
yeah,
you were going
dude.
there.
He was John, dude. He was John so bad. I know he was John at me. He's John at you, and then it was getting a little much, and it was definitely it was getting under the skin a little bit. And I remember him saying something along the lines of like, "I'll bowl you for 1,000 right now," blah blah blah. And before I could turn around, Andrew goes, "Dude, let's go." Grabs his ball, puts the money on the table. They go down like 5 pairs and bowl a game for $1,000.
I wouldn't let him take it back, is what my mindset was. It's like,
yeah.
Once he said that to you, like, because you're bowling a totally separate match, like you're in your own match, you were grinding your tail off trying to win that match, and he is John at you. And so they didn't, I don't know if you remember this, they didn't let me bowl that match.
Yes. And to set the preface, when he's drawing at me, I'm already bowling in a match. It was trios, or I believe. And it was killers, and we're bowling for a good amount of money. And I got a side bet going on with the other team. I'm bowling 1v1 against another guy too at the same time. And,
there was a ton. There was a ton going on, and like it was so uncalled for. And so we're not going to name the name, but me and this guy are totally cool. Like we have a total mutual respect. Like he probably wasn't super thrilled. Obviously, you know what the story goes on after the match, but I couldn't let him take it back. Like when he was saying all this dumb stuff to you, I'm just sitting in the back, like brewing because I'm not bowling. Like nobody wants to bowl me at the moment. And now he's drawing at you. And so when he said, I think the wording was something along the lines, "I'll bowl anybody for 1,000." I could not, Kyle, get to the pair fast enough.
I know.
I sprinted. I said, I can't wait. And so, I don't know if you remember this, but the match was over in the 7th frame.
Yeah, I remember it didn't finish. Like it was over.
We did not finish the game. And so, like, yes, I do search for that environment. I can't say I search for mad people like that as much. Like, that was probably pretty dumb of me because, I probably could have been taken out pretty quick.
Yeah, for
and sure. I wasn't holding back, as you know. Like, I did not like how he was talking to you. I don't know why. I really
That shit was so fun. That shit was so fun though. Like, I remember. Go ahead. Yeah, that was just saying. That was like the first time I bowled, and like not like the first, but one of the first few times that I bowled in it was the first time I bowled action matches there at the Bud Light Challenge. And I remember just being like, damn, dude, like, this is some, like, this guy is not, like, it was just intense. It was just a lot going on. I'm thinking, we're just going to, go bowl for some money. It's pretty serious. But now the shit talking got real. But it's so much fun. Like, it makes for great stories. And the action matches in general make for great stories.
Yeah, the Bud Light Challenge action matches, for those who aren't aware, the Bud Light Challenge is a big tournament in New York where a lot of money gets exchanged. So the main event's a 6-game qualification, and they run 2 sets of brackets, and you can be in for $3,000 per 3 games. So there's a incredible amount of action. But after the tournament is and Kyle and I are going down. It's his first time, and he's most excited to bowl action. That's the thing he's talking about. Like, bro, I'm ready for action.
I do remember that. You were super eager. Like, when we got done bowling, you weren't even mad that you lost your match or whatever happened. You're like, hey, the tournament's finally starting. We're here to bowl.
Yeah, let's go do this. Like, I'm here. I cannot get this action in St. Louis anywhere. Like, let's do it.
But the pattern they used in that tournament every year was brutal. So if you went even, you made the cut. If you shot 700, you were sweeping in brackets. They were brutal, flat. And then the action matches took place after that with no re-oil. So all you guys bowling for $500 to $1,000, they're bowling on what is possibly as hard of a condition. There's no oil in the lane left. People are like tossing it to the pins. It's not normal action bowling whatsoever. It's action bowling to where if you get to 210, you're probably winning or some form of that. It's just very big grind action matches. There's like no oil in the lane.
Yeah, with stud bowlers too, like guys that are really good players. Yeah, it's so much fun.
I love that tournament. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but my first ever tournament win as an adult bowler was the Bud Light Challenge.
Who'd you beat?
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This is really bad. I'm pretty sure it's Wilkins, Zach Wilkins in the finals. I'm pretty certain.
So that was a while ago.
This was my first tournament win. I wasn't even 21 yet. This was 2014. So I was 19 years old at the Bud Light Challenge. My first year ever going. It was actually one of the first tournaments I was ever backed for by somebody. My brother would always sponsor me here and there, like different things. But this was the first time I traveled somewhere where there's a lot of bracket action. Of course, they're brutal. Nobody knows who I am. And I go in there. And so in the doubles event, I didn't have a doubles partner. I literally didn't even know I was going, right? So I don't have a doubles partner. And so I bowl with a Canadian who was at the time, I think he was 66 years old. Okay. And he has 2 bowling balls. And in practice, I'm like, oh, like they're hard. I didn't you hear they're hard, but you don't really know how hard they are until you get there. And he has 2 bowling balls. And he's like, hey, you think I should do anything? I said, honestly, dude, I kind of want to hit your ball at 500. And if you flat 10 every shot tonight, I think we have a chance. And he goes, really? Wait, actually? I'm like, yeah, do you mind? So I hit this guy's high road pearl. I'll never forget it. High road pearl with 500. He's a 67-year-old that has 2 revs. He bowls his ass off. He shoots like 595. Well, I shoot like 710, and we finished second in doubles. So this was my introduction to the Bud Light Challenge. I said, this ain't so bad. And so the next day, now they're really hard. And I averaged like 205 in qualifying. I might have doubled up in brackets, but I make the cut. And so like in this match play, this is where I got that like reality moment. It's like you have Dan Higgins, Adam Barta, Matt O'Grady, Alex Cavagnaro, Rob Gottschall, and these guys are everywhere. And so you think you're a good bowler, and then you're like, no.
Yeah.
These guys are And so one thing led to another, man. Just like the Masters, I won some really close matches, and then they were hooking so much in the step ladder. I was actually the only person that brought a ball weak enough, and ironically, it was a motive ball. Like how things wrap around in life. My first tournament win as an adult was with a motive ball. It was a QZ1. The thing was a dart. It was dead straight. But I was the only one that had any hold. So when I win the Bud Light Challenge, I'm obviously stoked, but I'm the only sober one in the building. I mean, you guys have been there. You know how much there's some alcohol consumed. I'm the only sober one. So now I'm like, I'll bowl action matches. They wouldn't allow me to bowl the action matches because I was too sober.
Yeah.
So My first introduction to the Bud Light Challenge was incredible. I got to win the tournament, which was just an awesome win for anybody's career. They're so hard. The
Yeah.
challenge was awesome. But I got more excited, like you, Kyle, when I got to go back when I was 21, 22, because I'm like, yeah, now we're going to party and we're going to bowl some action matches.
Yep. It's a good time. Throwing
Yeah.
around money. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's a stressful tournament too, because like you said, you put so much money up in brackets, and there's only 2 sets. So if you're in for $5,000 in brackets and you shoot a 170, you're just praying.
Yeah, me and Brad chopped the one. We only bowled it a couple times, maybe. We chopped and we fired the whole thing. It's like $4,000, $5,000, whatever the case is, and I shoot like, I don't know, 5-10 the first 3.
Oh no!
and Brad's in second after 3.
Leading.
So you're leading. He's leading after 3.
Nice.
So we are like even. I lost every penny, didn't get any money back, and Brad like tripled up in brackets. It was
good job, Brad. Good job.
I took my only $4,000 I had in my life to that tournament, and Kyle and I put it all up in brackets, and I basically 5x my money, and he gets a goose egg.
Well,
and I remember thinking like, oh, this is the greatest performance of my life.
Yeah,
I've never done this before.
You learn how to strike real quick when you are putting your bank account on the line.
Oh, we've all done it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like out of college, broke college kid. I decided to leave college to chase this PBA thing. People thought I was crazy, and I was like, dude, you better learn how to strike real quick, man, because this is a cutthroat world. You have no clue what you're walking into. But how thrilling, man, is it when you put that much money on the line and you bowl good?
Unbelievable.
You bowl good.
Yeah, dude, it is just.
I feel like now I go to tournaments, and if there's like we still do it, but I remember there was a mode I was in coming out of college, bowling everything, amateur, whatever I could bowl, and now. If it was $1,000 in brackets or $1,500 in brackets or $700, I'm like, all right, here it is. Like, no fear. Now I'm like, damn, $1,500. Like, I got some bills to pay. Like, I got to pay now.
It does change.
It changes the perspective on it. Still do it, but it just completely changes the perspective on that fearlessness.
100%.
Like,
if I went back to the Bud Light Challenge. And if they had another year where there was 5,000, 7,000 brackets, you better believe I'm calling a couple of the guys up.
Like,
Anybody wants some of this action? Like, I'm cool. I just maybe don't want to put 7,000 in this.
Even nationals now. I saw Cameron Weir's post yesterday. They just got done bowling, and he mentioned like there's a different angst when you go to nationals where, on PBA events you get a lot of games. Yeah, it's basically impossible, and everyone's good, and it's like a different type of like. Nerves or whatever, but when you have a very limited amount of games and there's a lot of money you have on those 9 games or 6 games or whatever, that's a whole different level of like pressure.
Yeah,
because you can lose that money in one game.
I shot 170 second game of team this year and I wanted to cry. I'm like, oh
yeah,
well,
dude,
there goes that.
Did you break even? Did you get your money back?
I broke even that day, but like all the year-end stuff, I mean,
dude, the year-end stuff's hard. Yeah, I mean, you got to put up a lot of money, and you don't get that money back for 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, and like when you go into the squad room and you get in brackets, one of the things you see is like the super bracket. You're wanting to win that, and like a 170 is never getting you through any of that. So like you're in game 2 of the event, like you're in for X amount of money, and you're like, better bowl good tomorrow.
Yeah, you're in the event, game 2 of 9, and you're like, crap.
Yeah,
could be bad.
Yeah.
Especially in team, that 170 game 2 is just like I've done it so much. I do it almost every year. And dude, it's just so the worst feeling in the world.
So
I love the word. Man, I don't know. I don't get it.
I love that you love team.
I shoot 660 every year in team.
It's a beautiful thing.
Dude, that's what I think Dean Richards had a post. He said, I get him every year in team. I start out so good, and then by the end of singles and doubles, it's just such a mediocre year. And I resonate with that so much.
Until this year, man. Like,
except this year. Dude, I can't believe it.
Dude, all it takes, and I hope it holds up for you, man, because like the stress of watching, I won the singles eagle in 21, but I think I had like 75 days left of the event.
Oof.
Talk about an addiction. Hey, what time is it? Oh yeah, double single squad starts. Might as well put it on the phone for a little bit. See if anybody has an 8-bagger to start.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
that's
didn't.
brutal.
I didn't. What'd you shoot when you won?
802.
Wow. Were they hard that year?
I mean,
Harder, I guess. This year
yeah,
was
like
hard.
I thought, dude,
Not for Andrew.
I got lucky, right? Like I really felt like I got lucky because I dodged like 8 bullets of people having 570 or 560 turning the
Yeah.
corner. And you have to dodge bullets in that
Yeah.
event. But what I left there, I was actually more sad than happy that I shot 800 because going into the 10th, I had like 823 left, and I wrap a dime, and I was like, that's gonna be the one that costs it, you know. And then literally 8 hours later, the next doubles and singles event that day, somebody had 550 turning front four.
Oh,
I was like, yep, sweet. Well, I got the lead for 4 hours, you know.
yeah.
He ended up shooting 799. He 4-9'd on like in the 6th. He put the 4 in front of the 9, like everything that needed to happen. And so then I had 75 days of just like
misery.
I hope this holds up.
It's almost impossible to win anything without it going exactly right.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. It's like it's got to be meant to be at that point.
Like, there's very rarely you ever just straight dominate, like, and be like, yeah, no one's touching what I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, and I missed a 10 pin in the second game.
Did you really?
So it just makes me think, like, that's the reason I think it's going to get beat, is just to punish me for that 10.
You always think that it's going to get beat, though. I'll tell you that. Like, no matter what, you could have shot 842, and you're like, well, if I shot 842, somebody can
Yes.
shoot 843.
yeah,
You know, like everybody
840 is
thinks
pretty
that
good.
way, you know. You know, one of the most impressive things, I know that we're like kind of close to time or whatever, but I was at the LBC Sunday. Grand Faw's set at the LBC was unbelievable.
What did he
think in
do?
the
I don't
last
even know
4
what he
games,
did.
He averaged 272 for his 6 games.
Yeah.
And in the last 4, so I was like 5 pairs down. So like I was following him. Like when I would get to my next pair, I got to watch his 10th frame or whatever. In the last 4 games, he missed 4 times total, I believe it was. And he had the front 9 3 times of it. And each time he had the front 9, something crazy happened for him not to shoot 300. Like one was a massive messenger in front. The next one's like over the top 10. The next one's a dirty wrap 7. Like he legitimately, I was surprised he did not have 900 his last 3.
Wow.
And
You know,
it wasn't
that
even
man.
like, yeah. It wasn't even like no, it was just no doubters. Like it wasn't even like he splashed a ton, rolled some threes. Like it was just an absolute ball hits like it's 100 pounds for 4 hours.
Dude, he has that gear, man. He has that, like, not everyone has that gear to, you know, he can be a great bowler, but he has that gear to average like in the 270s for multiple games. And it is just gross when he does it. I remember there was a college tournament and we were bowling, I forget which one it was like Beaverview or I don't know, some tournament up there. And I remember we're bowling like a longer pattern, and I'm averaging like 250 for the first 4 games. I'm like, I'm probably leading this thing. I'm doing really good.
Yeah, all tournament team, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Like, and I might even get a win out of this. Like, this might be great. And go to check the scores, and I am losing to Graham by 100. He is averaging like 273 for the first 4 games. And I'm like, dude, it's a long pattern. You're left-handed. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. And it was just that guy just has the ability to just strike at will. It's so impressive.
I still, like, people ask me all the time, like, top physical games. Like, I think he's a top 5 physical game on tour. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting how he waits on it for as long as he does every single time. He never misses at the bottom, it seems like. He has, I don't know if you guys have looked at his fit. Like, I kind of look at people's fit sometimes. He has, like, no bevel. I mean, like, bro, it is incredible. Like, the amount of practice he must have put in when he was younger to be able to get out of the ball that cleanly with 500 RPMs and wait on it every time. Like, it's one thing to, like, pull it down from the top and hit it 500, but it's another to wait on it the entire time and hit it 500 with no bevel. Like, good luck. Congratulations. I am so envious.
And he's hitting it more now than he was like 3 years ago. Like, the dude is and he's still repeating. Like, It's just
I'm
unbelievable.
waiting for his breakout year. I really am. He had a good year this year. Don't get me wrong. He
did.
really did. But like, there is going to be a year, in my opinion, where Graham is a top 3 player in points. I have a hard time believing that it won't happen.
Yeah, that year he won the Players. Was probably a great year for that. He just was a little too young, probably.
Yep.
He did that so young in his career. He's probably a much better bowler now. But man, there for a while, I felt bad for him. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just being a lefty alone, you are, there's going to be some tournaments where you don't have anything, and then there's probably going to be some years where it's not great, and this roller coaster you have to go through. And he did, man. He went
I respect the grind.
4 or 5 years just grinding. Doesn't go on social media and complain. Doesn't do anything. Just stays his course.
Yeah.
I
And still
respect that
shows up.
so
Hey,
much.
what's up, man? How are you? Like,
Oh yeah, doesn't
yeah.
change.
Yeah. If kids are watching, watch Grandpa.
Yeah, what? Yeah,
The way he handles himself and bowling in general is really one to watch and applaud.
he's still living in Canada, isn't he?
No, he's in Ohio. He's
No,
in
he's in Ohio.
Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right. He's in Ohio. Duh.
Maybe Akron, Cincinnati. No, Cincinnati, I think. Somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, well, shout out Graham, man. Good bowling at the LBC. What'd you
Yeah.
shoot?
I averaged 226 and I was short by 50 a game. So I bowled okay. Like literally I had like 220, 190, 230, 230, 230, 240. And so like I bowled fine. I just never had a 9-bagger. And like
Yeah.
based on the scoring pace, and they were pretty easy to get to the pocket. It's really more of like, are you going to knock them all over? Is your touch good enough that day that like when you move pairs, you're going to start with a 3-bagger rather than like spare open 3-bagger, Just fun
Yeah.
to-
Well, you guys want to wrap this up?
Let's wrap it
Yeah,
up.
man, thanks for having me, guys. For
No,
real.
thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you. We were excited. Great year. Good luck at the PBA League.
Thank
That
you.
has not completed yet. So, what days do you go to the PBA League?
September 14th through 17th. I could be corrected. I believe those are the days. Yep. Please cheer on the Las Vegas High Rollers. We've
Defending
had a
champs?
great year. What's that?
Defending champs?
No. We have finished in the semifinals or finals every year we bowl together or part of this team. We have not got over the hump. So,
Oh, I thought
there's a good feeling, man. There's a good feeling. There's always a good feeling, but this one feels better. I think we're ready for it. Obviously, like we're all gonna feel a little more refreshed going into it. Yeah, man, just that environment. You guys know, like,
Oh yeah.
you gotta love it. You gotta love bowling and love those pressure situations to bowl good there. So I'm looking forward to it more than ever.
Yeah, if you're on the East Coast, middle of September, go check out the PBA League. It's an experience unlike any other.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give a shout out to my YouTube channel, please.
Yes.
Please subscribe, watch some videos at Andrew Anderson Bowling. I'm trying my best here. I can't wait to hopefully collab with you guys somewhere along the line. And, any feedback is good feedback. I am reading every comment still. I'm going to do it a little longer. We'll see how long it lasts. But I appreciate it, guys, for real. Thanks for having me on. And I'm looking forward to doing some of the coaching for you guys this in July. So be on the lookout for that, too.
Hell yeah, brother. Thanks for coming on, bro. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Later. All right, Mr. Andrew Anderson. Awesome guy. Love talking to
Yeah,
him.
what a great dude. And dude, Andrew is like, we didn't even get into it a whole lot, but man, he is a bowling, like, I'm just gonna call it, he's a bowling nerd. Like, you want to talk about physical games and fits and bowling balls and get into the weeds of things. Like, he's an interesting guy to talk to and a good guy
Yeah,
to talk to about all that.
he's on the player committee. He is on the USBC board. He's trying his best to have connections around the world, like he said. You just got to respect it.
Yeah, he's a great guy to start getting the YouTube mind going. And how can we take this further? Like, I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, man, Andrew and all he's involved in and his experience and knowledge, and just a great guy to get on YouTube for everybody and for bowling in general.
He's a guy that would, when you get access to the world and these people that are watching your videos from other countries, and you start to develop these connections of just randoms, not even the big wigs of these other countries, just like the locals, and And Andrew's the kind of guy that'll use that. Like he'll, like you said, he wants to do a scholarship and stuff like that. So perfect.
Absolutely. So, all right, dude. We want to wrap this up?
Alrighty. Well, we appreciate you guys. If you guys are looking for coaching, hop in there. Andrew's going to be doing some coaching for us this month. $100 off. Use code America24. We'll put that link in the description. We'd love to see you. Again, thanks for all the tickets on the Lucy giveaway. Very exciting for us. And what do we got? We got a regional this weekend. Kyle, we're going to bowl.
We do.
And then we got the Lucy in 3 weeks. So that's
got
that.
some bowling to do. Got some bowling. We got to get the game sharp. I was practicing. We got some work to do. I got to drill up that Ion Pro, baby. That's going to be
the
the
King
savior
Daddy
for me. So, all right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.